Punjab, India. Dr. Gurpreet Kaur, you will have 12 to 15 minutes for your presentation. Dr. Kaur.
A very good afternoon to everyone present here. Thank you very much, Dr. Rahman and Dr. Mahbub, for giving me this pleasure for being on this platform and share my knowledge on this subject. And I would like to share my PPT. I would like to uh, request you to kindly share my PPT. I won't take much time. Dr. Rahman.
Yes.
I have requested to share my PPT.
Yes, Gurpreet Kaur, you now can do it.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you are all able to see the presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, thank you very
Yes,
much.
please.
Thank you very much for accommodating this. The topic of my presentation is the intersection of travel, culture, and climate change, literary explorations. So I would like to start with talking about travel literature, first of all. And according to critics like John Bourne, travel writing is quote unquote a travel term for a variety of texts, both predominantly fictional and non-fictional, whose main theme is travel. And one of the critics, Hume, he also says that travel writing has four major aspects, quote unquote, in generic terms: the novel, that is literature; ethnography, that is anthropology; the document history; and reportage, that is sociology. So, travel writing is basically an outcome of a journey which involves a physical visit to various places of visitors' interest, maybe in the form of an adventure, exploration, a conquest, or an inquiry exploring the people, culture, flora, fauna, and food habits, and societies as well. So, further, if we talk about culture, culture is a way of life. It includes a society's beliefs, norms, values, customs, laws, and styles. And culture varies from country to country, from state to state, and based on the geoclimatic terms, it also changes with every few kilometers. If we talk about climate change, culture is related, or you can say it is connected to everything, and climate is very important part of that. So, climate change, as Ban Ki-moon says, climate change does not respect border. It does not respect who you are, rich and poor, small and big. Therefore, this is what we call global challenges, which require global solidarity also. So, along with science, technology, and education, the arts and culture have a significant role to play in helping us address climate change. And culture and environment are connected. And if we talk about cultural activities, more or less they interfere with the local environment and the local communities in turn, and they are dependent on the natural sources of their area. It is a dire need of the hour to re examine our relationship with nature to keep the planet in order. And I would like to talk here about cultural activities that can deteriorate, or you can say that are deteriorating the climate and environment part. And those activities are mass tourism, traditional farming practices that are not sustainable, um, deforestation for cultural rituals and land use, and events that generate significant waste, such as festivals and fairs. And I'm sure that you would agree with me that during the festivals and during the fairs and other you can say activities like tourism, we are deteriorating the environment, we are contributing to it, and these activities can lead to habit destruction, pollution, and overall environmental degradation. One of the critics, Lewins, asserts, quote unquote, if we set ourselves the very general project of asking what is nature, what is culture, and how we should distinguish the two, then we will inevitably fail. So, in an article written in a journal, Culture and Nature, one of the writers says, culture are rooted in time and place. They define how people relate to nature and their immediate physical environment. Even in the globalized world of transnational people, cultures tend to make roots in a specific environment. Cultural ethics decide what is environmentally right or wrong, as biological and cultural diversities are closely interdependent. They interact with and affect one another in complex ways in a sort of core evolutionary process. So, therefore, we cannot really look at nature and culture as two different, you can say, constructs. So, they do not run in parallel or separate realms. In fact, their relationship is overlapping and independent. Nature plays a powerful role in the progress of events and is intermingled with the emotions and thought processes of the characters in the literature. If we talk about, they share an intimate relationship with land, flora, and fauna, which is an important aspect of their cultural belief system. Like just now, Dr. Shankar talked about, he related color with the culture and with the environment as well in different writings. The relationship between cultural invasion and environmental degradation is directly proportional to each other. And I have just highlighted this. Eco-critical analysis of texts definitely develops ecological wisdom among the readers and therefore promotes green peace. So I have focused my paper on this presentation on climate literature. And these days, you must be familiar with the cli-fi word, that is climate fiction. And the climate change means rise in severe weather events, unexpected rainfalls, droughts, floods, forest fires, heat waves, and see how the climate these days is becoming so unpredictable. So, in an article in The Guardian in 2005, Where is the Fiction About Climate Change? Robert Macfarlane laments for the death of art addressing the issue of climate change. He writes, quote in unquote, where are the novels, the plays, the poems, the songs, the liberty of this massive contemporary anxiety? So, an imaginative reporter is urgently needed by which the causes and consequences of climate change can be debated, sensed, and communicated. Literature reflected this eco-critical consciousness. So, a good number of modern writers too have consciously or subconsciously delivered an eco-critical perspective in novels. A critic, Das writes, quote unquote, these writers have often intended to reflect burning ecological problems like species loss, pollution, global warming, toxicity, deforestation, etc., through their writings. So, be it the sacredness of trees or the symphony with sympathy with animals, Indian authors have effectively mirrored the cultural beliefs into literature in various languages. If we focus particularly on northeastern India and its literature, it is a house of innumerable species of flora and fauna. Now, coming to the particular writer that I've chosen, I am very sure that everyone is aware with the Amitav Ghosh writings. So Amitav Ghosh, he has been writing on the different aspects, like he's been focusing on culture, on travel, on ethnography, on anthropology, and whatnot. So this writer intricately explores the interplay between environment and culture, often highlighting how ecological factors shape human identities, social structures, and cultural practices. His works demonstrate a consistent concern for environmental issues like he writes about petroleum production in the Glass Palace. He talks about conservationism in the Hungry Tide, imperialist botany in River of Smoke, as well as there is a focused attention on the other than human as a significant element of the text. He talks about elephants in the Glass Palace, dolphins and tigers in the Hungry Tide, poppies and opium in Sea of Poppies, and the rest of the Ibis trilogy, as well as ships in almost each of his texts. Now, if we focus on The Hungry Tide by Amitav Ghosh, most of his writings deal with exploring culture, tradition, and through traveling to different places like Bengal. He deals with history and background of Bengal in The Hungry Tide, in Guns Island, etc. His travel writings are a source of landscape, traditions of a city or a village, and of course, its history. The Hungry Tide is about an area which is mysterious, less known, and less visited. Hosh also lays bare the biological life cycle of the freshwater fish, Oracella brevirostris, and Irrawaddy dolphins, and their aquatic history in the region. The reader is surprised to know that dolphins can be found in the forests and canals of Sundarbans, where earlier only tigers, snakes, and crocodiles used to exist. So, what I want to say here is that unless we read literature about these aspects of nature, these aspects of animals, of flora and fauna, and the changing climate, we are not able to know most of the things. In The Hungry Tide, he talks about nature culture interaction that can be seen in the natural belief of the Lusibari colonists, the people of that place. The Lusibarians believe that the goddess born Bibi presided over the jungle and the inhabitants. Pia, one of the characters in The Hungry Tide, observes that Fakir, another character, is offering prayers to Bon Bibi and the Muslim Pir. So the form of worship used by Fakir demonstrates the blending of cultural rituals. According to Nilanjan Chakravarti, a critic, this blending has occurred because communities have merged into one another. Thus, Bon Bibi becomes a goddess of protection for both communities in Sundarban. Ghosh in Guns Island, through his character Deen, travels from the marshy, flood-prone Sundarbans Delta on the southeastern fringe to West Bengal to the city of Venice, which is believingly it is sinking slowly in Italy. Ghosh connects the present-day ferments caused by climate change with the 300 years old the Little Ice Age, a phase of global cooling. So, the basic concern is climate change and natural upheavals and crises like dead zones in oceans, mass bleaching of whales and dolphins, and devastating wildfires. So, Ghosh says an interview, he says, quote unquote, my book arose out of a sense of urgency, and it is very much about the world that we live in now. I'll move to the next writer, Leslie Mormon Silko, and she's an indigenous writer who writes about the females, tribal culture, and nature. So she's an American writer who explores the interconnectedness of environment and culture, particularly through her Native American heritage. She emphasizes on the landscapes, land shapes, and identity, tradition, and community. Her works frequently depict the landscape of Southwest, integrating elements of oral storytelling and Pueblo culture. Silko addresses themes such as the impact of colonialism on indigenous people, the importance of nature in spiritual practices, and the role of storytelling in maintaining cultural heritage. The females in ceremony, her writing attribute their divine and healing power to the natural elements. Even the minor objects of the nature have a great significance for them. They are in a direct communication with the natural entities which are their helper and provides them with sustenance. Nature is their religion, a source of their survival, a center of their social and religious practices. Silko presents their culture and heritage as a mode of communication with nature. So, just keeping in mind the time given to me, I would like to conclude now. I had a couple of other writings and I have excluded those right now. The writings that I focused here, they show and arouse feelings of concern for the climate crisis, particularly focusing on the geographical area of Sundarbans and Venice in the writings of Amitav Ghosh and relationship of women and nature in Silko's writings. Therefore, it is right now a dire need of the hour to re-examine our relationship with nature by reading texts through an eco-critical lens as a step towards sustainable development. We need the mobilization of people at all levels of society, from big corporation and policy makers to individuals, at a time of intense environmental crisis that we are living in today. Literature sensitizes the readers to act sensibly. So these efforts only can help tackle climate change, and reading climate literature is definitely going to help and sensitize us. Thank you very much.